pop on here really quick and give you a little bit of an explanation of why this channel is called Cook with Confidence. One thing that I always want to portray with cooking and baking is you're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes. And part of me jumping on here is to kind of show you a little bit of how to navigate mistakes and fix them and pull them off like they were not mistakes. You're using a recipe or you're not using a recipe. If you're winging it, you're probably gonna make more mistakes. Even if you're using a recipe, mistakes could still happen. Every oven is different. Humidity affects things, freshness of ingredients affects things. So we're kind of gonna cover a lot of that quickly with these scones because there were some issues. When I was perfecting the recipe, I was doing it in a professional kitchen with convection ovens, basically every high-end tool at my disposal that I don't have in my home kitchen. So I want to show you a couple examples of what happened in the scone process today. So the first batch of scones that I did were way too big. They couldn't support their own lift because they were too heavy. And this is the result. Listen, they taste amazing. I ate one. It doesn't affect the taste, it just affects the lift and the rise. So they kind of look like a cookie. Is there anything wrong with a lemon blueberry cookie? No. They're just not the texture that I necessarily look for in a scone. So let's see if that'll focus. Okay, it's not focusing, but it's still light, it's still airy, there's still a good crumb, it's just not as high. So these were baked in a conventional oven, which means that there's no fan in the back of the oven blowing the hot air around, which is usually recommended for baking, but not many kitchens have a convection oven. Okay, I have one more batch in my toaster oven, which actually does have a convection option, so I tested that out as well. Another thing I tested in there is smaller dollops of batter in the convection, and this is what I got. So they, if you can compare, have much more lift, and I think one of the reasons for that is they were smaller, so there wasn't as much weight on top, just causing it to spread out, and also the convection. So it blows heat evenly around, which is really important for baking if you're using a leavening agent like baking powder or baking soda. Okay, I'm just checking on those. So if we break this open, it's so much different than the inside of this one. It's just higher, a little fluffier. As you can see, the blueberry, because these got so flat and there wasn't really much room upwards for the batter to go, it seems like there's more blueberries or a better blueberry distribution than these, which is actually really funny. So with these, it kind of all comes down to personal preference. If you want a scone that you can cut in half and toast in a pan with butter and put jam on, you're gonna wanna make the dollops smaller, and then they won't spread out as much. They'll retain their lift. But if you're just looking for a nice little sweet treat to have in the morning with your coffee or your tea or your dessert or afternoon, whatever, and you don't really care what they look like, you're not trying to cut it in half, like hamburger roll wise, I guess, then make them as big as you want. Okay, so the third batch that I did not sprinkle sugar on top. The other two batches had sugar sprinkled on top before going into the oven, and then for the last minute of baking, they were under a broiler just to caramelize that sugar a little bit and get the brown crusty top. These ones don't have it, just mostly as an experiment, but I did still put them under the broiler, so they do still have the brown top. It's different. So I'll show you. So this is with sugar. You can see there's like depth of color. This is a little cragglier, browner, and this is a little more pale. have, oh my god, these are so hot. This, which is a little more, the brown is much more even. You can see because it didn't have the individual grains of sugar to caramelize. It was just working on the sugar that's in the batter, which is much more evenly dispersed, and at this point, mostly dissolved. So you still get little variations of color, paleness, and brown. I love the way the blueberries popped on this and kind of are like running down. So when the first batch came out of the oven, I immediately was like, these are not right, this is a mistake, this is not how they're supposed to look. But then I realized the whole point of this channel is to help people feel confident in cooking and baking, kind of no matter what they're doing or how things come out. If it tastes good, honestly, it rarely matters what it looks like or the process you took to get there. So the first batch, I'm gonna run through all three different batches. The first batch, hella flat, but it has nice sugar caramelization on the top. It's got nice little blueberry explosions on the bottom. The bottom is a little pale. It's not as brown as I would like, but that just means it'll be perfect for toasting, either in a pan or in the toaster oven, and then you'll get that crispy effect that you're looking for. So I initially thought these were a mistake. They're still usable, and I'm still gonna use them. Now I have way too many scones, so I will make room in my freezer for them, but these, still good. Next batch, smaller dollops, still the sugar on top, baked in the convection versus the conventional of the first batch, so they retained their lift. They're nice and fluffy on the inside. I don't think you can see it, but there's little specks of lemon zest that you can see in there for a nice little pop of bright citrus. So these would definitely get cut in half and either toasted in the toaster oven or in a pan with butter. Lemon curd would be really good to dip these in. Third batch, not as crusty on top because there's no sugar. These were also baked convection, which is the fan. If you ever see a recipe that says, you know, 350 fan, they mean convection. Nice blueberry explosion. I don't know exactly why these seem to have more blueberry explosions than the other ones. So yeah, so these are also good for cutting in half. They're very soft. Let's break one open really quick. So that's what the inside looks like. Nice and blueberry-y. So yeah, what you think might be a mistake can actually turn out to be something great, and it's not wrong, and as long as it tastes great, I don't think anyone will care. And just, yeah, be confident in your cooking and your baking, and keep watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Leave any comments with suggestions on things you want me to make. Testing out some different video techniques, so let me know what you like, what you don't like, and we're just gonna keep rolling and see what happens, and hopefully I'll keep making mistakes so I can show you guys that they're not mistakes, how you can fix them, how you can adjust them, and people are still gonna love whatever you make, unless you confuse salt for sugar.